Hi, stamping friends. It's Sherry Parker coming to you live on Wednesday, April 9th, 2025. I'm so glad that you are joining me, whether it's live or on replay. I do appreciate you being here. I've got some cute cards to make tonight, and I really can't wait to show you some really fun ideas using die cuts on a fold. Before I get started, though, I did want to mention that this is the last week where I will have a host code. So when I turn it over, you'll see that. And it is the last week that Stampin' Up! Will have Hostess Rewards. So starting next week, April 15th, it'll be a whole new system. It's a customer-based rewards program. And I think you're gonna really like it and benefit from it. You can bank points to use towards future purchases with any demonstrator. So there's a lot of really great advantages to it. I know change can be hard sometimes, but at the end of the day, it's a necessity, and I think you're gonna really, really like it once you get used to it. So that's coming next week. And also, Stampin' Up! Did promote or publish more items on the last chance list. So what's happening is, you might be familiar with how stamp sets have retired or accessories in the past. What they're doing now is they're putting items on a last chance list. So those items are available until they run out. Some items will carry over into the new catalog, and then some items will just become online exclusive, so they won't be in a published book or anything like that. So, but your best bet is to go onto my website at sherrythomas.stampinup.net. You can click on the last chance list, and then you can see everything, kind of what's still available, the prices. Some things are discounted. So I think you'll really, it'll make a lot more sense when you go to my website. And as always, if you comment on or share my videos, you will have, your name will automatically be entered in to win one of the projects that I make each night. Hi Karen, thank you for joining me. All right, I think I'm gonna go ahead and turn my camera over, and we'll get started on some fun projects. All right, I wanted to show you what we'll be using tonight. So as I mentioned, Stampin' Up! Added a bunch of things to the last chance list, one of which was the Cheerful Daisies stamp set and die cut sets. This has been a favorite of mine for a while. This is actually on sale for $15, and then the die cuts I think are $20. So they are discounted, and this is kind of a last chance to get it while you can. This one is a little special to me. I think my very first Facebook Live, I used this. I was a nervous wreck. I made a tag, and I was probably shaking like a leaf, but I'm not sure yet if I'm going to get rid of this one or not. But I wanted to use some supplies tonight that might be going away, some that are carrying over, and maybe even something new. So we're going to be using the Cheerful Daisies bundle here. And in addition to that, we're going to be using the Splendid Autumn Designer Series paper. Now this might look familiar to you. This was in a mini catalog previously. It's really pretty. And the name is deceiving, because while it's called Splendid Autumn, you can see that there's some beautiful scenery on here that could be used year round. It's not really just for fall. So I'm going to be using that tonight, and this is actually in the new catalog. So we'll use that paper, and then a couple other items. The Choose Happy stamp set. This one is also going to be in the new catalog, so it might look familiar, but it is carrying over. And then some of my favorites, you know, I love Spotlight on Nature dies and the Nested Essential dies. So we'll be using a lot of these different products tonight and making 3 different cards. So tonight's theme is using die cuts on a fold. So we all love die cuts, right? You know, like last week I made this card here, and I die cut the banner. You know, they add a lot to your cards. Well, one thing you can do is actually put your dies, when you're cutting out, you can have a full piece of paper, and then you can put one of the edges of the dies just above the fold. You run it through your die cut machine, and then when you take it out, you've basically made an extension of that. So it's really a fun thing to experiment with. You can do all different shapes. Here's a square, and I cut it out on the die, or on the point here, so it makes a cool little diamond shaped card. Here's another fun shape I did. So again, you just put the die cut right over the fold, and you can get really creative and all kinds of fun shapes. Here's another one using Spotlight on Nature. So there's no end to the creativity, trust me. So I'm going to be doing this technique for three different ways. So we're going to make a card on a card. We're also going to use these as accent pieces. So think of an advent calendar or something like that. You could get really, really creative. And then last, as a card base. So I'm going to make these 3 cards tonight, and we'll get started. Thank you, Ruth. So this is a pretty basic use of this idea, right? You've probably seen something like this. All I did here is I just had a piece of white cardstock, I folded it, and then I put this banner die just above the fold, and then I cut out this shape here. So that's basically how you do that. Very simple to do, and you can, as I showed you with these other shapes, you can get really creative with that. So for this particular card, I'm going to use Pretty in Pink. I'm going to use some, this is Retiring in Color Designer Series paper, so this won't be in the new book, but I always love the Pretty in Pink and the Shy Shamrock. I love pink and green together, and it's so springy. So what I did is I cut a rectangle of each of these colors. They were 3 3/4 by 5, and then I cut them on the diagonal. So from these 2 sheets here, I can create 2 different cards. And I just think this adds a lot of interest to a card. And all I'm going to do is just simply glue this down from side to side. And I'm going to use green glue for this because, thanks Cheryl, I think it's easier to position. And of course you could use whatever side you want. I'm going to use the stripes and the circles. So I'll put one of them on that side. Oops. And then on the other side. Even though it's spring, you would think it would be a little bit warmer here in Ohio, but it's not. It's very, very cold here and rainy today. Not great. I didn't do the greatest job centering that, but that's okay. So that's going to be the base of my card. I have this real pretty Shy Shamrock ribbon, and I'm going to tie a knot here, and then I'll use my Stampin' Seal. And I'll just simply wrap this around. This is a nice way to add something to your card too. And you don't have to use a ton of ribbon. So we'll put that, and then we're gonna go ahead and adhere this to my Pretty in Pink card base. And this is just a 1/4 sheet of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock. All right, so for the center piece of the card, I'm using my beautiful Cheerful Daisies, and we're going to be using this a bunch tonight. And one of the greetings that comes with it is your friendship means everything. So I'm going to stamp this using Shy Shamrock ink right there on the front here. And then I'm going to stamp a couple leaves. So these I'm going to have tucked behind my flowers. So I'm just going to kind of position them, and then I'll cover it up with the flower. And then for the daisy, I'm going to take the smaller of the daisies that come in that stamp set, and there's a solid that I'll stamp in Pretty in Pink. And then there's the accent piece, which I'll stamp with Strawberry Slush. Of course, I didn't do that straight because I'm on a video, but, and then for the center, Crumb Cake. So through the magic of TV, I ran that through the embossing folder because, again, these dies coordinate with the stamps. Hey, Michelle, I'm looking forward to seeing you too on Sunday. And Sunday, I am having an event, a mystery hostess event. So I probably have room for a couple more people. If you're interested, just send me a note and we'll get you in. So I'm going to go ahead and put my flower, kind of tuck those leaves behind it. And last thing I'm going to do is add some of these party dots. Now you can see I got a green smudge there, so what do? We're going to cover it up with a little party dot. No one will ever know. That's what I like to do. And I'm just going to use pink since we're doing all pink and green on this card. So our card on a card, you can layer that again if you want on some pink. I think I'll use glue for this one. And then the layers are just something you can do, but you don't have to. You don't have to layer it like that. And then we'll layer it again on the top. So this one I'm just calling a card on a card. And I always joke about this style. So maybe there's an in-law or somebody that you don't really have a lot you want to say. You can just use one of these little card in a card and you can write just a short little note. So there is card number 1. All right, the next one, and this is the one I think I'm most excited about. I kind of came up with this idea. It was funny. I was lying in bed and thinking of card designs, and I thought the first thing that came to my mind was this would be a really cute idea for an advent calendar. Of course, it's not Christmas time, but you get the drift. So you could make like a, maybe a framed art or something where you had rows of these, and then every day you could open it up. I thought that'd be kind of cute. But this is another take on this where I am using that Splendid Autumn Designer Series paper. The scene is just beautiful. And then I'm hanging these like on a little line in this field of flowers. And I think these daisies that come from the same stamp set, which is this stamp here, they mesh really well with the purple flowers in the Designer Series paper. So for this one, I'm going to use a Highland Heather card base with white that I'm going to go ahead and put on the inside of my card. This is a little bit darker cardstock, so it'd be nice to put a piece of white in there. So before I adhere my front of my card or Designer Series paper, I cut this piece down to 4 by 5 1/4. And the next thing I'm going to do, I put some adhesive on the back, is I've got some gold cord, and I'm simply going to, about probably 2/3 of the way up, tuck it on both sides. And you want a little bit of give, but not a lot, okay? Because you don't want it to droop down too much. So I will go ahead and adhere that to the front of my card, and you can see I've got this little loop here. And then what we'll do is we'll hang our banners across there. And this is basically just an accent to your card. So the card, opens and just like a normal card. And these are merely accents to add a little interest to your card. So with these, I just took scraps of paper, did the same technique where I took my small little banners and reach for those. But in the Nest of Essentials, there's little banner and a medium-sized banner. They go up all different sizes. So I went ahead and I cut out, gotta find my other little guy. So, and this you can see how I made my banner shorter. So I went up a little bit more, okay? So you can really play around with it. You could make a long and skinny one, or you can make more of a short and stout one. So I wanted these a little bit shorter so that they could hang on this line. So, all right, so we'll go ahead and stamp our flowers, and we're just trying to blend with the flowers in the background. So I'm gonna stamp the daisies using Highland Heather on the 2 little guys. And then on the big one, I've got Gorgeous Grapes. So it's a little bit darker. And then on the inside, I showed you that Choose Happy stamp set. I thought it'd be really cute to just say, oh, happy day. And this is a fun stamp set because it has all these words. They're individual, so you can mix and match and make whatever you want. So I have oh, happy, and day. But you could do anything, and I think this is a really cute, versatile set. So I'm going to stamp the OH, not to be confused with Ohio State. So we'll say O, and then happy in the middle one. And then the last one will say day. Like that. So all we have left to do is go ahead and string these on to our card. I would go ahead and secure them. I think what I'll do is just put a little piece of tear tape. So I'll start with the middle one. And tear tape is good because you can just put a little teeny piece of it. So we'll put our happy right there in the middle. And this is just to tack it down. O-H, I know. I think how creative you could get with that stamp. So we'll put our O here, and then our day on the other side. And since this is a regular card, of course you may want to stamp something on the inside as well. So there's a birthday sentiment that comes with that cheerful daisies. So there you go. There's the front of our card. I think this is fun. And then you could stamp happy birthday. This one says wishing you the brightest birthday. So we'll stamp that in with our gorgeous grape. Ta-da! So we've shown how you do a card on a card. You can do little accents. And then last, and I'm sure you've probably seen this, is where you make that your card base. This size could be a note card or a card. So all I did here is I took the Spotlight in Nature die and ran it right up to the top here through the die cut machine. And so I have a card base. This is Crushed Curry cardstock. So the next part to make this card is I cut from that same pack of paper, the Splendid Autumn. There's like regular daisy or sunflower looking flowers. So this is another die from Spotlight in Nature. That one I'll just layer onto the front of my card. I really do love this paper, and I'm so glad it's in the new catalog. For this one, we'll use the larger daisy, and we'll do the two-step stamp using some yellows. So I've got for the base of it, I have Daffodil Delight, and then directly on top, I will stamp Crushed Curry. Hopefully I line this one up a little better. Not perfect, but I'm not a perfectionist. So the center of this one will be Pecan Pie. And then I'll stamp a couple leaves, which we're going to use the same leaf we used on the first card. This is just scrap paper. And then we'll run this through the die cut because all of these coordinate with dies from that same set. And it turns out like that. And in addition to the daisies, I also cut out the little banner that comes in that daisy die cut set also. So we have all the little pieces and parts that we need. And now the fun part is assembling. So I'm going to use dimensionals. And we'll pop our little daisy out. Make him go over here. And then I've got two leaves. I think I'll use some mini dimensionals. Make those pop out. And then for the greeting, I'm going to use that same birthday sentiment. Clean it off here, and I will stamp wishing you the brightest birthday using Pecan Pie. There you go. And then we'll go ahead and tuck that in there as well. So you can see how easily these come together. And I've really only used one main stamp set and one main pack of paper. So we'll tuck that in there. And then the last two little things I'll add, I'm gonna add some more of that gold twine. Oh, thank you, Sharon. And I'm doubling it up, so I'll probably be all thumbs, and I'm gonna attempt to tie a bow. We'll see how this goes. I never can do it when I'm on camera. It's not the greatest. I'll fix it before I send it to somebody. And then the last thing I'm gonna do is add some bling. I've got some of these rhinestones here. I want to make them kind of goldish yellow to go with the theme. So I've got my Daffodil Delight blends, and I'm going to color a few of those. tip of that one has seen better days, but it's still hanging in there. And I'll just scoop those up. And the blends, because they're alcohol-based, you can color on embellishments and things like that. So it does add a lot of versatility to your supplies. So you don't have to necessarily have every single color of rhinestone. Okay, so there is our third card. So we've used our dies on folds in 3 different ways. What do you like? Do you like the card on a card? Do you like kind of this accent piece, or do you like to use it as a card base? I'd love to hear what you like. So those are the projects tonight. I hope you like them. I always have fun experimenting, and doing these videos really makes me use my stuff, which I love, because we all are guilty of having supplies and not using them enough. So it's a lot of fun just to go in there and experiment. Okay, so that was our projects for this week. Last week, if you happen to see the video, we made these 2 cards using Designer Series paper. Very simple layout. One is very, very simple and one stepped up. So everyone who commented on and shared, your name is in this little glass here. And I'm gonna draw, and the winner will get these cards in the mail. And same goes for tonight. So if you comment on or share tonight, you will have a chance to win tonight's cards. Karen Beck, this one is for you. You win the happy birthday card. And then this cheers, it's your day card will go to Jenny Gilbert. So I will mail these to you all this week. And I do appreciate you joining. Even if it's on replay, just give me a shout that you watched it on replay or that you shared it, and you'll be eligible. So thank you again for joining me. Have a wonderful rest of your week. It's April, it's spring. I think it's finally gonna be spring, hopefully in the next couple days. So thank you, have a wonderful evening, take care, and please reach out, like if you have any questions on the new customer program and setting up an account, please reach out to me and I'll be happy to walk you through it. Thank you, have a wonderful night.